Employee laughs at Travis Scott in store. The reaction was millionaire-level. Marcus's alarm went off at 5:30 a.m., same as every morning. The tiny studio apartment in Queens was dark, except for the blue light of his phone screen. Next to him, Anna stirred, but didn't wake up. She'd worked a double shift at the diner yesterday. She needed the sleep. He moved quietly, grabbing his uniform from the pile of clean laundry they hadn't had time to fold. The Supreme t-shirt was wrinkled, but it would have to do. Rent was due next week, and they were still short $400. The subway was nearly empty this early. Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling through StockX prices. He'd been saving up for months to buy Anna a pair of Jordan 1 Chicagos, her dream shoes. At this rate, he'd need another 3 months of overtime. "Yo, Marcus." Tommy, the morning security guard at Supreme Soho, called out as Marcus approached the store. "You see the Travis Scott drop announcement?" "Nah, what's up?" "New Cactus Jack merch dropping next month. Store's gonna be crazy." Marcus nodded, suppressing a yawn. Another drop meant another day of dealing with resellers, scalpers, and kids, spending their parents' money on clothes they'd wear once for Instagram. Inside, he started his opening routine. Check the inventory, steam the display items, make sure the hangers were all facing the same direction. After 3 years, he could do it in his sleep. His phone buzzed. A text from Anna. "Left you breakfast in the fridge. Love you." He smiled. She was always thinking of him, even when she was exhausted. He typed back, "Love you more. Dinner's on me tonight." The morning crowd started trickling in around 10. The usual mix: tourists taking pictures, high school kids who should have been in class, wannabe influencers doing TikTok dances by the mirror. "Excuse me," a guy in a Rolex and pristine white Air Force 1s approached. "Can I see that BOGO hoodie in an XL?" Marcus grabbed the latter. "The red one?" "Yeah. Is it authentic?" Marcus bit back a laugh. "Everything here is authentic, sir. We're the actual Supreme store." The guy flushed. Right. Just checking. You know there's a lot of fakes out there." "Trust me, I know." Marcus had seen enough fakes to write a book. People would come in wearing the worst knockoffs, trying to flex like they were real. Some days it was funny. Most days, it was just sad. Around noon, his coworker Jay came in for his shift. "Yo, Marcus, you hear about the celebrity visit today?" Marcus's heart sank. Celebrity visits meant extra security, extra cleaning, and extra bullshit. "Who is it?" "Can't say. But it's big. Management's freaking out." The next few hours were a blur of folding clothes and answering the same questions over and over. "No. We don't have the black BOGO in medium." "No. We can't hold items." "No, that's not on sale." At 3:45 p.m., the energy in the store shifted. Security guards appeared at the entrance. People started pulling out their phones. "He's here," Jay whispered. Marcus was in the back, organizing the stockroom, when he heard the commotion. He walked out to see a crowd forming near the entrance. Through the gaps between people, he caught glimpses. The diamond chains, the braids, the entourage of yes, men. Travis Scott. Marcus had seen plenty of celebrities before, but this was different. Travis was a legend in the streetwear world. His Nike collabs sold out in seconds. His concerts caused riots. He was the kind of famous that changed the energy of a room. But something wasn't right. Marcus noticed it immediately. The slides Travis was wearing, they were Supreme, but something was off. The stitching was wrong. The logo was too big. The colorway. That's when it happened. The laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep inside Marcus. Maybe it was the stress of being broke. Maybe it was the exhaustion of pretending expensive clothes could make you somebody. Maybe it was just the absurdity of a millionaire wearing fake slides. Whatever it was, Marcus couldn't stop it. The laugh echoed through the suddenly silent store. Travis Scott stopped mid-stride. His security team tensed. The crowd of shoppers froze, phones still recording. "Something funny?" Travis's voice was quiet, but it carried. Marcus knew he should apologize. Play it off. Save his job. But 3 years of biting his tongue, of watching people flex fake wealth and fake confidence, had worn him down. "Your slides," Marcus said, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. "They're fake." The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus could feel Jay staring at him in horror. He could practically see his job evaporating, along with any chance of buying Anna those Jordans. Travis took a step closer. His security moved with him. "What makes you say that?" Travis asked, his expression unreadable. "The colorway," Marcus replied. "Supreme never made those. Plus, the stitching is off, and the logo's too big. They're Canal Street fakes. Seen a million of them." Someone in the crowd gasped. Phones were still recording. Marcus could already imagine the headlines. "Supreme employee disses Travis Scott," or "Store worker commits career suicide." But then, something unexpected happened. Travis Scott's face cracked into a grin. "Damn," he said, looking at Marcus with new interest. "You really know your shit." The tension in the room broke. Travis's security relaxed slightly. The crowd started murmuring. "Most people just kiss my ass," Travis continued. "Even when I am obviously wearing fakes, it's refreshing to meet someone who keeps it real." Marcus shrugged. "Just doing my job, man." "What's your name?" "Marcus." Travis nodded slowly, still studying him. "Marcus," he repeated, like he was making a mental note. "Good to meet you, Marcus. Keep that energy." The visit continued. Travis bought several items, paying with a black American Express card that made the register beep in confusion. His entourage loaded up on clothes too, all authentic this time. Before leaving, Travis turned back to Marcus. "You got Instagram?" "Yeah, but drop it in my DMs. We might have something to talk about." And then he was gone, leaving behind a store full of shocked faces and a very confused Marcus. That night, as Marcus rode the subway home, his phone blew up with notifications. Someone had posted the video. It was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. "Employee keeps it real with Travis Scott. Supreme worker calls out fake slides." Anna was waiting up when he got home, despite her early shift tomorrow. "Baby, you are trending," she said, showing him her phone. Marcus sank onto their worn couch. "I am probably fired." "Are you kidding? This is the most authentic thing I've seen in retail. People love it." She curled up next to him. "I am proud of you." Marcus pulled her close, breathing in the familiar scent of her shampoo. "I love you," he said. "Love you more," she replied. "Even when you are going viral for roasting billionaires." They laughed together, neither of them knowing that this was the last normal evening they would share for a long time. Tomorrow, Travis Scott's business manager would call. Tomorrow, everything would change. But for now, Marcus just held Anna, both of them scrolling through the comments and laughing at the memes people were already making. For now, they were just them, young, in love, and getting by in New York City. Marcus's phone buzzed. A new Instagram follower, @Travis Scott. "Holy shit," Anna whispered. Marcus stared at the notification. Something big was coming. He could feel it. But that was tomorrow's problem. Tonight, he had Anna, their tiny apartment, and the satisfaction of finally saying what everyone else was afraid to say. His phone buzzed again. This time, it was his mom. "Marcus, baby, are you okay?" "I saw the video." He chuckled. "I am fine, Ma. Just another day at work." "Another day? You called out Travis Scott's fake shoes. In front of everyone. Your father's showing the video to everyone at the barber shop." Marcus could hear the pride in her voice, mixed with concern. That was his mom. Always worried, always proud. "Listen, baby," she continued. "Just be careful, okay? These celebrities, they can be unpredictable." "I know, Ma. Love you." After hanging up, Marcus checked his work email, dreading a termination notice. Instead, he found a message from corporate. Marcus Chen. "Regarding today's incident with Travis Scott, please report to the regional manager's office tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp." Har. Anna read the email over his shoulder. "They can't fire you for telling the truth. They can fire me for whatever they want." Marcus sighed. "New York's an at-will state." "Then we'll figure it out." She squeezed his hand. Together. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Old friends from high school. Cousins he hadn't talked to in years. Sneaker blogs wanting interviews. "Should I post something?" he asked Anna. "Nah," she replied. "Let them talk. You just be you." Marcus looked at their vision board on the wall. Pictures of the apartment they wanted to rent in Brooklyn. The store they dreamed of opening. The life they were building piece by piece. He wondered if he'd just blown it all up over a pair of fake slides. Anna seemed to read his mind. Whatever happens tomorrow, I am proud of you. You stayed real in a fake world. They fell asleep on the couch, the television still playing news coverage of the incident. Comments kept pouring in on social media. This dude's got bigger balls than the whole industry. Bro really risked it all to call out fake Supreme. Travis Scott needs to hire this man for. Little did they know how prophetic that last comment would turn out to be. The next morning, Marcus woke up early. He put on his cleanest Supreme uniform, kissed Anna goodbye, and headed to the store. Whatever was coming, he'd face it straight on. Sometimes keeping it real did pay off. Other times, it cost you everything. Marcus was about to find out which one this would be. Marcus sat in the regional manager's office, his hands gripping the arms of the leather chair. The wall clock ticked loudly, 9:15 a.m. He'd been waiting for 15 minutes, each second feeling like an eternity. The door opened. Instead of the regional manager, a man in a tailored black suit walked in, followed by two others carrying briefcases. Marcus Chen? The first man extended his hand. I am David Porter, Travis Scott's business manager. Marcus's stomach dropped. This wasn't about getting fired. This was something else entirely. Travis was impressed yesterday, David continued, settling into the chair across from Marcus. Very impressed. We did some background checking last night. Your knowledge of streetwear is exceptional. Your social media presence is authentic. You've got a good eye. Thank you. Marcus shifted in his seat, uncertain where this was going. David opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick document. We want to offer you a position on Travis's team, creative consultant and merchandise authenticator for his upcoming clothing line. Marcus waited for the punchline. It didn't come. The base salary is $250,000 annually, with performance bonuses that could double that. Full medical, dental, $401K with matching. Private housing in Houston provided for the first year. The numbers made Marcus's head spin. That was more money than he'd make in 10 years at Supreme. There's a catch, right? Marcus found his voice. David's smile tightened slightly. A few conditions. You'd need to start immediately. The position is based in Houston, no remote work. You'd be on call 24/7. And naturally, you'd need to sign an extensive NDA. Marcus thought about Anna, about her nursing school, about their plans. I need time to think about it. You have 24 hours. David slid the contract across the table. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Marcus. Don't waste it. Back at his apartment that evening, Marcus stared at the contract while Anna read it for the third time. This is insane, she whispered. The money. We could buy a house. Start that store you've always wanted. In Houston, Marcus reminded her. What about your nursing program? Anna's face fell slightly. I could transfer. Maybe. In a year or two. A year or two? Marcus repeated. The words felt heavy. His phone buzzed. A text from his mom. Baby, how did the meeting go? Are you okay? He hadn't told her about the offer yet. Hadn't told anyone except Anna. Marcus, Anna touched his arm. This is your dream. Working in streetwear, making real money, being part of something bigger. Our dream was doing it together. Anna stood up, walking to their small kitchen window. The sun was setting over Queens, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Remember when we first met? She asked. At that sneaker convention? Marcus smiled. You were wearing fake Yeezys. And you called me out on it? She laughed. But then you spent an hour teaching me how to spot real ones. You didn't make me feel stupid. You made me feel seen. She turned back to him, tears in her eyes. That's your gift, Marcus. You see things as they are. No bullshit. Travis Scott saw that too. I can't ask you to put your life on hold for this. You are not asking. I am telling you to take it. Marcus stood up, pulling her close. Long distance is hard, Anna. Really hard. So is being broke in New York, she whispered against his chest. So is watching you work doubles at Supreme just to make rent. So is putting our dreams on hold because we can't afford to take risks. His phone buzzed again. David Porter. Decision? Marcus looked around their tiny apartment. The vision board with their dreams. The stack of Anna's nursing textbooks. The pile of sneakers he'd been collecting since high school. Everything they'd built together. If I take this, he said slowly, I promise, I'll make it worth it. 1 year. I'll save every penny. We'll open that store, get that Brooklyn apartment. Everything we talked about. Anna wiped her eyes. You better. And I want free Cactus Jack merch. They laughed, but it was hollow. Both knew something was ending, even as something else began. Marcus picked up his phone, hands shaking slightly. I am in, he texted David. The response came immediately. Smart choice. Car will pick you up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pack light. Everything else will be provided. Tomorrow. Not next week. Not next month. Tomorrow. The reality hit him like a wave. He had 12 hours to pack up his life, say goodbye to everything he knew, and step into a world he'd only seen from the outside. I should call my mom, he said. Anna nodded, already pulling out their suitcases. I'll help you pack. The next few hours were a blur. His mother cried on the phone, a mixture of pride and worry. His father gave him gruff advice about saving money and staying true to himself. His little sister begged him to get Travis Scott's autograph. Around midnight, exhausted from packing and emotional goodbyes, Marcus and Anna lay on their bed, staring at the ceiling. Promise you'll visit, she said. Every chance I get. Promise you won't let them change you. Marcus turned to look at her. In the dim light from the street, she looked like she did the day they met. Young, beautiful, full of dreams. I'll always be me, he said. The guy who calls out fake Yeezys and laughs at Travis Scott's slides. She smiled through her tears. That's my Marcus. At 7:45 a.m., a black Escalade pulled up outside their building. The driver, wearing a Cactus Jack uniform, loaded Marcus's bags while Marcus and Anna shared one last embrace. I love you, he whispered. Love you more, she replied, her voice breaking. Go change the game. As the Escalade pulled away, Marcus watched Anna in the side mirror until she disappeared from view. His phone was already buzzing with messages from David Porter. Schedule updates, contact information, protocol briefings. The driver caught his eye in the rearview mirror. First time leaving home? Marcus nodded. Word of advice? Don't look back. Looking back makes it harder. Marcus turned off his phone. He'd need these quiet moments to prepare for what was coming. The contract in his bag felt heavy with promise and responsibility. Travis Scott's words from the store echoed in his mind. Keep that energy. But as New York faded behind him, and the reality of what he'd just done settled in, Marcus wondered if keeping it real was worth losing everything real in his life. The answer would come sooner than he expected, and it would cost more than he ever imagined. At JFK, a private jet waited on the tarmac. Marcus's Supreme uniform was still in his bag. He hadn't had time to return it. As he climbed the stairs to the plane, he touched the logo on his chest one last time. Goodbye, New York, he whispered. Don't change while I am gone. But New York wasn't the one about to change. Marcus was. The plane landed in Houston 3 hours later. The heat hit him like a wall as he descended the stairs. Another black Escalade waited on the tarmac. Mr. Chen. A woman in a sharp blazer approached him. I am Rachel, your personal assistant. Welcome to Houston. Personal assistant. The words felt foreign. Travis wants to meet you right away, Rachel said, checking her tablet. We'll drop your bags at your apartment later. The car wound through Houston streets, past gleaming skyscrapers and sprawling neighborhoods. They pulled up to a massive recording studio complex. Inside, the air conditioning was Arctic. Marcus followed Rachel through a maze of corridors until they reached a door marked Private. Travis Scott sat on a leather couch, surrounded by computers and sound equipment. He looked up from his phone. The Supreme Guy, he grinned. Welcome to the family. Marcus nodded, suddenly aware he was still wearing yesterday's clothes. Get him some fresh fits, Travis called to Rachel. Full Cactus Jack wardrobe, and show him the samples. Rachel led Marcus to another room. Racks of clothing lined the walls, prototypes of unreleased merchandise. These are all fake, Marcus said immediately, examining a hoodie. We know, Rachel replied. They're counterfeit samples we've collected. Your job is to spot the differences, help us stay ahead of the fakes. Marcus picked up another hoodie. The quality was incredible, better than most authentic pieces he'd seen. The game's changing, Travis said from the doorway. These factories getting too good. Need someone who can spot the bullshit before it hits the streets. When do I start? You already did. Travis tossed him a phone. Company line. Always on. Welcome to the big leagues. That night, in his new apartment, a sleek, high-rise unit that made his Queen's studio look like a closet, Marcus finally checked his personal phone. 3 missed calls from Anna. A dozen texts from his mom. A message from his dad. Proud of you, son. Stay humble. He called Anna. Hey, her voice was small. How's Houston? Different, he said. Big, empty. Your mom's worried. You should call her. I will. It's been crazy. Silence stretched between them. I miss you, she whispered. Miss you more. No, you don't. She laughed. But it sounded forced. You are too busy being important now. Before he could respond, his work phone buzzed. Rachel. Emergency meeting. Travis needs you now. I have to go, he told Anna. Already? Work stuff. I'll call tomorrow. He ended the call before she could respond, already grabbing his keys. This was the life he'd chosen. The life he had to make work. Because somewhere between that laugh in Supreme and this moment in Houston, Marcus had crossed a line. There was no going back now. The only way was forward, even if forward meant leaving everything behind. 6 months. That's how long it took for Marcus to stop checking New York's weather every morning. 6 months of missed calls, unread messages, and I'll call you back later texts to his family. His new apartment overlooked downtown Houston, floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view he once only dreamed about. Designer clothes filled his closet. His bank account had more zeros than he'd ever seen. He was living the dream. So why couldn't he sleep? Mr. Chen, Rachel's voice crackled through the intercom. The production meeting starts in 20. Marcus rubbed his eyes, staring at his reflection in the bathroom mirror. Dark circles had become permanent features. His Supreme uniform hung in the back of his closet, a reminder of a simpler life. His phone buzzed. Anna's name appeared on the screen. He let it ring. At the office, Travis was already in full creative mode. Marcus, my guy, Travis called out. Tell these idiots why their samples are trash. The conference room was filled with nervous-looking executives from various manufacturing companies. Samples of upcoming merchandise lay scattered across the table. Marcus picked up a hoodie. Stitching's wrong, logos misaligned, materials are cheap. This wouldn't fool anyone who knows what they're looking for. See? Travis grinned. That's why he's here. That's why I pay him the big bucks. One of the executives cleared his throat. Mr. Scott, with all due respect, these are the best factories in. I don't want the best factories, Travis cut him off. I want perfect. Marcus, show them the real shit. Marcus pulled out his laptop, displaying photos he'd taken of high-quality counterfeits. These are what we're competing with. Underground factories in Asia are producing fakes that are nearly identical to authentic pieces. Some are even better quality. The room fell silent. That's why we need to innovate, Marcus continued. New materials, new authentication methods. Maybe blockchain tracking. Travis nodded approvingly. My boy's speaking that real shit. That's why he's getting a bonus this quarter. After the meeting, Marcus checked his phone again. 3 missed calls from his mother. A text from his father. Son, please call, it's important. He'd call later. He always said he'd call later. That evening, alone in his apartment, Marcus ordered delivery from the expensive sushi place downstairs. As he ate, he scrolled through Instagram. Anna had posted a photo with her nursing school friends. They were celebrating something. She looked happy. His work phone buzzed. Rachel. Travis wants you at the studio. New samples arrived. Marcus grabbed his keys, leaving the half-eaten sushi on the counter. The night was young, and in Travis Scott's world, the work never stopped. At the studio, Travis was in a mood. These motherfuckers think they can rush me? He paced, waving a contract. They want the collection next month. Next month. Marcus examined the new samples. These are better. Still not perfect, but I don't want better, Travis snapped. I want revolutionary. I want people to lose their minds. I want. His phone rang. He checked it and cursed. Got to take this. Figure it out, Marcus. That's why I hired you. Alone in the studio, Marcus stared at the samples. His reflection in the mirror caught his eye. Designer clothes, expensive watch, hollow eyes. His phone buzzed again. His father. This time, he answered. Marcus? His father's voice was tight. Where have you been? Working, Dad. You know how it is. Your mother's been trying to reach you. She's worried sick. Marcus sat down, suddenly exhausted. I am fine. Just busy. Too busy for family? The words hit hard. Dad, Your mother had surgery last week. Marcus's blood ran cold. What? Why didn't anyone tell me? We tried. His father's voice cracked. You never answer. You are too busy with your famous friends and your big money to care about us anymore. That's not fair. No? When's the last time you called? When's the last time you asked about us? About Anna? Marcus's throat tightened. How is she? Graduated nursing school last month. Not that you'd know. The room seemed to spin. Last month? How would he miss that? I have to go, Marcus said weakly. Of course you do. His father sighed. You know, son, I was proud when you got this job. Thought my boy was making it big. Didn't realize making it big meant losing yourself. The call ended. Marcus sat in the empty studio, surrounded by expensive clothes that suddenly felt worthless. His work phone buzzed. Travis. Got plans for you tomorrow. Big shit. Be ready. Marcus typed, okay, with numb fingers. That night, he lay awake in his luxury apartment, staring at the ceiling. The city lights cast shadows that danced across the walls. His mother had surgery. Anna graduated. Life had gone on without him. He picked up his phone, opened Anna's contact. His thumb hovered over the call button. But what would he say? Sorry I missed your graduation? Sorry I disappeared? Sorry I chose this life over ours? Instead, he opened his email and bought 3 things: flowers for his mother, a graduation gift for Anna, and a plane ticket to New York. The next morning, Rachel was waiting in his lobby. Cancel the flight, she said without looking up from her tablet. What? How did you? Travis needs you here. Big announcements coming. Can't have you out of town. Marcus felt something snap. My mother had surgery. Send flowers. My girlfriend graduated nursing school. Ex-girlfriend, Rachel corrected, finally looking up. According to her Instagram, she's dating a doctor now. The world tilted. Marcus grabbed the wall for support. Car's waiting, Rachel said, already walking away. Travis has a surprise for you. Marcus followed, because that's what he did now. That's all he did. At the studio, Travis was unusually excited. My guy, he called out. Got something for you. He handed Marcus a box. Inside was a pair of sneakers. Unreleased Travis Scott ex-Nike collaborations worth more than a car. You earned these? Travis said, clapping him on the shoulder. You are family now. Family. The word echoed in Marcus's head as cameras flashed, capturing the moment for social media. Later, alone in his office, Marcus stared at the sneakers. They were perfect, flawless, worth a fortune. And he had never felt more fake in his life. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened Instagram. There it was, Anna in her scrubs, smiling next to a tall man in a white coat. The caption read, Movie night with this one, number doctors and nurses. His fingers trembled as he scrolled through her feed. The signs were there. Photos at restaurants he could never afford on his supreme salary, snapshots of hospital life, and gradually, more appearances of the doctor. Doctor James Chen, no relation, according to his profile. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Chen, Travis needs you in the design room. Marcus ignored it. He kept scrolling until he found it, Anna's graduation photo. She was beaming in her nursing cap and gown, holding her diploma. Her parents were there. His parents were there too. Everyone who mattered was there. Except him. The intercom buzzed again, more insistent. Mr. Chen! I need a minute, he shouted. His phone rang. His work phone. Travis. Yo, where you at? Travis sounded annoyed. We got the new samples in. Need your eyes. I can't. I just need. Can't? Since when do you say can't? Get your ass down here. Marcus looked at the sneakers Travis had given him, then at Anna's photos. The life he had versus the life he'd lost. Marcus, Travis's voice rose. Don't make me regret betting on you. That's what did it. The threat, however, veiled. Because that's what this whole thing was, a bet. Travis had bet on him, and he'd bet on Travis, and he'd lost everything else in the process. Coming, he said, his voice hollow. In the design room, Travis was surrounded by new merchandise samples. "Look at these. Tell me what's wrong." Marcus picked up a jacket, going through the motions. Stitching's off on the collar. Logo placement is 2 millimeters too high. Material. "Nah, something's off with you," Travis interrupted. "W here is that energy? That real shit you had in the store?" Marcus put down the jacket. "My mom had surgery. I didn't know. My ex-girl graduated nursing school. I missed it." Travis was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out his phone. "Rachel, book him a flight to New York, first class, tomorrow." Marcus looked up, surprised. "Take the weekend," Travis said. "Fix your shit. But Monday morning I need that real Marcus back, the one who called out my fake slides. That's who I am paying for." "Thank you, Don't thank me. Just don't lose yourself in all this. That's what they all do. That's why I picked you. You were different." Was. The past tense. Hurt. That night, Marcus packed a bag for New York. His old Supreme uniform still hung in his closet. He touched the fabric, remembering the day he'd laughed at Travis Scott's slides. His phone buzzed. A text from Anna. "Heard you are coming to NY. Mom says you should visit them first. Dad's not doing great." His heart stopped. Dad? What was wrong with Dad? But before he could reply, his work phone lit up. "Rachel, emergency meeting tomorrow 7 a.m. Travis insists." Marcus stared at both phones. Both lives. Both choices. Sometimes keeping it real meant facing the fakest thing of all, yourself. The video call flickered on Marcus's laptop screen. His father's face appeared, gaunt and tired, lying in a hospital bed. "Dad?" Marcus's voice cracked. "What happened?" "Just a little heart trouble, son. Nothing to worry about." His father tried to smile, but the effort was visible. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "We did." His mother's voice came from off-screen. "Check your messages." Marcus scrolled through his phone. Dozens of missed calls. Urgent texts he'd ignored. The truth had been there all along, buried under meetings and deadlines and Travis Scott's demands. That same night, a major streetwear blog dropped the article. Exposed. The dark side of Travis Scott's merchandise empire. Marcus's name appeared prominently, painted as the key player in a system that exploited workers and deceived customers. His phone exploded with notifications. Former colleagues from Supreme sharing the article with disappointed comments. Travis's team demanding immediate damage control. Lawyers threatening legal action. Marcus sat in his luxury apartment, surrounded by designer clothes and empty takeout containers, reading the article again and again. The worst part? None of it was lies. His personal phone rang. Anna. "I saw the article," she said without preamble. "Are you okay?" "No," he admitted. For the first time in months, he told the truth. "I am not okay." "Your dad needs you, Marcus. Not your money, not your fancy job. You." "I know." "Do you?" Because the Marcus I knew would have been on the first flight home when his father had a heart attack. The Marcus I knew cared more about real things than fake clothes. Her words hit harder than any exposé. Marcus's work phone buzzed. Travis's name flashed on the screen. "I have to go," he told Anna. "No," she said firmly. "You don't." For once, Marcus ignored Travis's call. Instead, he opened his laptop and pulled up his bank records. 6 months of astronomical paychecks. He'd saved most of it, too busy working to spend it. Enough to start over. Enough to make things right. The next morning, Marcus walked into Travis's office, unannounced. The rapper was already in crisis mode, surrounded by lawyers and PR teams. "Where the hell were you?" Travis demanded. "We've been calling all night." Marcus placed his work phone on the desk. "I quit." The room went silent. "You what?" Travis stood up slowly. "I quit. The article's right. This isn't real. None of it is." "You signed a contract." One of the lawyers spoke up. "There will be severe consequences." "Sue me," Marcus interrupted. "I've got proof of everything. Every email, every order, every factory we knew was using unfair labor. Sue me, and it all goes public." Travis dismissed everyone else from the room. When they were alone, he studied Marcus carefully. "What happened to you?" he asked. "You used to be hungry for this." "I used to be real," Marcus corrected. "Remember? That's why you hired me. Because I called out your fake slides. Because I kept it real. But there's nothing real about this anymore. This is business, Marcus. Grow up. My father had a heart attack. I didn't even know because I was too busy authenticating fake clothes that were selling as real. Travis sat back, his expression unreadable. You want out? Fine. But you'll never work in this industry again. Marcus smiled for the first time in months. Good. He walked out of Travis Scott's office, out of the building, out of a life that had seemed like a dream but had become a nightmare. On the flight back to New York, Marcus drafted a business plan. He had enough saved to open a small store. Something authentic. Something real. His father was awake when Marcus arrived at the hospital, still in his expensive Houston clothes. Look who remembered where he came from, his father said weakly. Marcus took his father's hand. I am home, Dad. For good. What about your big job? Some things are more important than money. His father squeezed his hand. Now that sounds like my son. Over the next few months, Marcus poured himself into making things right. He found a small storefront in Brooklyn, not far from where Anna worked. He hired local kids, taught them about sneakers, about authenticity, about keeping it real. The store wasn't fancy. No celebrity endorsements, no million-dollar launches, just honest products for people who cared about quality. One rainy Tuesday, the bell above the door chimed. Anna walked in, still in her scrubs. Nice place, she said, looking around. Very you. Thanks. Marcus busied himself with a display, trying to calm his racing heart. I heard what you did, standing up to Travis Scott, walking away from all that money. Yeah, well, someone once taught me about authenticity. Said it wasn't just about clothes. Anna smiled. That real smile he'd missed so much. What happened to the doctor? Marcus asked, trying to sound casual. Turned out to be a fake. All designer clothes and luxury cars, but no substance. She picked up a pair of sneakers. These real? Everything here is. Including you? Marcus met her eyes. Especially me. The store bell chimed again. A teenager walked in, wearing obvious knockoffs. Marcus recognized that look, trying to flex, trying to be something he wasn't. Hey, kid, Marcus called out. Let me teach you something about authenticity. Anna watched as Marcus sat down with the teenager, patiently explaining the differences between real and fake, just like he'd done with her all those years ago. Some people said Marcus Chen was crazy for walking away from Travis Scott's millions. But standing in his own store teaching a kid about real versus fake, with Anna's smile warming the room, Marcus knew the truth. Sometimes the biggest wins in life don't come with a paycheck. Sometimes they come when you look in the mirror and recognize the person looking back. That's the realest victory of all. Word spread quickly in the streetwear community. Former Supreme customers started showing up at Marcus's store. Not for hype or clout, but for his knowledge, his honesty. One evening, as he was closing up, a familiar face appeared at the door. We're closed. Marcus started, then recognized Rachel, Travis's former assistant. Nice setup, she said, looking around. Small, but real. What are you doing here? She pulled out her tablet. Travis sent me. Marcus tensed. I am not interested in. He wants to collaborate. Your store. Your terms. No corporate BS. Marcus laughed. Why would he want that? Because you were right. Rachel put her tablet away. The article hurt us. Bad. People want authenticity now. They want what you have. What I have isn't for sale. Everything's for sale, Marcus. Name your price. Marcus looked around his store. The local kids he'd hired were cleaning up, joking around, learning. His father, recovered now, often sat in the corner, telling customers stories about the history of sneaker culture. Anna dropped by most evenings after her shifts, gradually rebuilding what they'd lost. Tell Travis thanks, but no thanks, Marcus said. Some things really aren't for sale. Rachel nodded, almost looking proud. He said you'd say that. That's why he wanted to offer this instead. She handed him an envelope. Inside was a letter acknowledging Marcus's claims about the company's practices, along with a public statement Travis planned to release about changing their authentication processes. He's admitting it? Marcus was shocked. Like you said, keeping it real. After Rachel left, Marcus locked up and walked to the hospital where Anna worked. She was just finishing her shift. Dinner? He asked. Your place or mine? Ours? He held up a key. If you want. Anna took the key, tears in her eyes. Only if you promise to stay real this time. The realist. They walked hand in hand through Brooklyn, past Supreme where it all started, past the fake designer stores, past the life Marcus almost lost himself in. The next morning, a teenager tried to sell Marcus some knockoff Jordans. These are fake, Marcus said gently. How can you tell? Marcus smiled, remembering a girl in fake Yeezys who changed his life. Let me teach you about authenticity. It's not just about the shoes. Because sometimes the biggest flex isn't what you wear. It's who you are.